tell Jesus that the bitch is fat. I was in a 2-on-2.
Right, let's talk about how 2024 tried to kill me off.
Do you love me?
Alright! Oh my god, I'm filming a video! We're so back, guys. Oh, I've missed you. Have you missed me? So, I'm gonna just do a bit of a chill, chatty thing and really catch you up on everything that's going on. If you weren't aware, I did post about it on Instagram, but I really took like a proper break. I know that if you guys are people that like follow me, you'll know that I'm fairly sporadic with YouTube uploads anyways, but even though I've been really sporadic with my uploads, I've still mentally like never actually like taken time off. In the spans of like months where I'm not posting or something, I will literally be like, I need to get back to YouTube. I need to be editing. I should be doing this right now. And I realized that I think it's just kind of built up over the years and really stressed me out. Especially, again, if you follow me on Instagram, you'll know that I had some diagnoses this year, that I will obviously get into in this video. There's just a lot going on and we're gonna talk about it. So I'm not doing anything crazy makeup wise. I'm literally just gonna kind of do like a bit of day to day, but I'm gonna add like a little bit more than I normally would day to day. Because I'm making some OnlyFans content later. Ooh. First fun update, it is 18+ content. So if you are under 18, I wouldn't suggest you go and follow me on there, but you know, if you are one of the few people that follow me on here purely because you think I'm really hot and sexy, especially right now, then go follow me on OnlyFans. Oh, and kind of like the second biggest update. This might look like my setup that you're used to, but I am in a new location because I've actually moved into a flat on my own in my hometown.
You're joking.
It's really fun being able to update you guys. Like, it's not that I was like, oh, I need to keep this secret. Like, oh, it was just like, there was so much up in the air in the past like year that I just was like, I don't really want to like talk about anything until I'm like fully settled physically and mentally as well. But yeah, I'm in a new place. I'm in my own flat. I have been vlogging the whole process, so eventually there will be like a bit of a move-in vlog because I've been doing up some like DIYs. But again, because I was kind of like half keeping it a secret, I was like not like posting loads of it. But now that I'm like announcing it, I'm excited to be able to share a lot more stuff again on Instagram stories. It's probably worth mentioning, if you do really want to keep up with me outside of YouTube, you should follow me on Instagram because that is where I usually go to. So yeah, go follow me on Instagram, thank you. So I'm just gonna kind of try and go semi-chronologically going over stuff that happened last year that has like led up to me now. 2024, January, starting off strong. Lost my job. Some of you guys already know this, but like I was working for Eleanor, my friend Eleanor, if you don't know, Eleanor Neal, true crime YouTuber on here. Woo. And basically, like, to cut a long fucking story short, it just kind of ended up not really working out towards the end. And there's no drama. It's not for any personal reasons or anything like that. It's just that when I first started working for her, it was kind of like a bit of a loose job title. Like Eleanor just needed some general help, like assistant-y, creative, stuff like that. And I needed a job pretty desperately. So she was like, well, why don't you come work for me? And it was honestly like a really lovely job, a lovely situation and stuff like that. But I feel like we just kind of started to realize that like her needs were kind of going beyond my skill set essentially as an assistant, because I wasn't trained as an assistant and I had never done it before. We were just kind of like going with the flow and I was just trying to help her out however I could. But you know, as she got more busy and like required a little bit more of me, we just kind of started to realize that I just wasn't cut out for it. And again, like it was a totally chill situation and we are still besties, so like don't worry about that, there's no drama. But that being said, started off the year strong by not having a job anymore and entering my unemployment era. Woo! Oh, and I should probably also mention at this point, I had just got my ADHD diagnosis and obviously had been on the journey of like learning about all of that. I also started to realize how much my ADHD really affected me day to day. And I definitely think that that was a really big contributor to why I was struggling in that job as well. Like that job was essentially to be good at organizing and I'm not good at organizing. Do you know what I mean? Like I did my best, especially because I was working for one of my best friends. I wanted to do a good job, but I just, especially because of my ADHD, again, just kind of realized how much that was like affecting me in work and then also in life in general. So I was then obviously jobless. So I was like trying to figure out what I wanted to do. Oh, love blush. How cute was that? Oh, scene number 2. God, I'm gonna be pissing up a storm. Oh, I forgot to glue my eyebrows on again. I keep doing this. It's fine, whatever. I've got notes next to me to make sure that I'm like not forgetting anything that I wanted to update you guys on. And I just looked at it. I literally wrote, got diagnosed with ADHD, struggled. It was a really weird time. This is kind of like early 2024. I want to say like Jan to like maybe And I actually posted a video like whilst I was going through a lot of this, talking about it. It was something like, I've been struggling, or like, I've not been doing well. That's what it was. That did make me kind of feel a bit better, just kind of talking about it. And you guys were obviously very sweet in the comms and stuff like that. So that video was a nice little like jump up in terms of general mood within my life. But then, if you don't know, I live with a couple of my friends. I keep saying like, if you don't know, I'm just gonna talk to you guys as if you know, and if you don't know, comment and I'll fill you in or something, or like go and watch my other videos, do you know what I mean? Because I'm talking to my mates right now. If you don't actually know me, we're just having a bit of a catch up. I'm happy to have you here and like fill you in on some more of the law, but I can't be arsed saying, if you don't know me, or if you know me, blah, blah, blah. Like,
if you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. If you know, you know.
But yeah, I was living with my friends and our tenancy was coming up, and the plan was to be staying in London. As a lot of people know, London landlords are absolutely horrific. And they wanted to up our rent, which I mean isn't unheard of, do you know what I mean? Like, it's not like shocking news that they wanted to up the rent or whatever, but we just realized we didn't want to be in the place that we were in for more money, because it was already, I mean, it's London. It was already fucking extortionate just to be in this place that realistically is technically not actually worth it. Like, you are paying for the London price tag, the house itself. I mean, I love that house, loved the vibes in there and stuff like that, but you know, it was given very student house. It was like kind of half falling apart, do you know what I mean? So we were like, okay, we started realizing that like we probably weren't going to be able to find something for us all to move into. At this point, I still didn't have a job, so I was like, I actually don't know how I'm going to afford to live in London anymore. But I really wanted to stay, because also I was the only one in the house that kind of like technically didn't actually have like a place at home or like somewhere else to go. My mum in my hometown moved into a smaller house after we all like fled the nest, because it was just her and my little sister. But that obviously means that there's not room for me to like move back home or whatever. So I was kind of like panicking, basically thinking like, I don't know what I'm gonna do, like if everyone's gonna move. My other housemates were kind of like unsure if they actually did want to stay for like a plethora of different reasons. And obviously because they had an option of moving home, it was kind of a bit more like feasible and plausible for them to do that. So it felt like I was like the only one that was like, no, please, we can make this work. We need to stay. Because one, selfishly, I didn't know where else to go. And two, I just was gonna miss my friends and I didn't want my London life to like stop. But ultimately we ended up realizing that yeah, we weren't gonna be able to stay there, because actually the landlord at one point when we said we were gonna move out backtracked and said that they wouldn't up the rent. But at that point we had started making plans to move out. Like everyone had kind of started putting in the groundwork of like where they were gonna go and stuff. So we were like, little too late, babes, we're off. And I remember being like, oh, for fuck's sake, like if they hadn't put the rent up, like we might have actually ended up staying there. But you know, can't change the past, whatever. At this point, it's like, yeah, we're moving out. And I famously didn't know where I was gonna go. So I was like, okay, put my stuff into storage. Because that was the other thing as well. I was like, even if I did have room to move back up here or something like that, I was like, I have a decent amount of stuff. Getting it up to my northern town was also gonna be really expensive, and I did not have the money at the time. Just was like, what? Like, it was just, honestly, that summer was just such like a mind fuck of like, I don't know what to do. Basically what I ended up doing was living between my mum's house and like staying at hers for a couple of weeks, and she would sleep on the sofa and let me like use her room and stuff. So thanks, Trace, love you. And then also going to stay at my sister's in the Netherlands, which honestly ended up being like a really nice time. Like I was like traveling back and forth a lot. I was timing everything really well in that I was going from my hometown down to London, doing some plans or something like that. When the plans were over, I was going to the Netherlands, and then if I had plans in London again, I would come back from the Netherlands and then go up north. Do you know what I mean? So I was just kind of going like this. And the annoying thing as well is that because of fucking Brexit, if it wasn't for Brexit, I would have actually been able to just like move over to my sister's house and it would have been chill. Brexit made that like really impossible. So that's also part of the reason that I was like, I need to go back and forth. And then also I will say a lot of stuff was going on in my general personal life outside of like trying to figure out where I was gonna live and stuff that I'm not like gonna get into too much. There was just some stuff happening over the summer that just kind of like hurt me. I just kind of like then ended up getting like realized,
Wait a minute, hold on.
am I gonna cry? No. I did not think that this was gonna make me emotional. Whoa. To kind of cut a story short, some stuff was going on that made me have a wobble with some of my relationships to people. Kind of ultimately led me to being / feeling a little bit more isolated and honestly gaining a lot of trust issues without trying to like air out. And also you guys like don't know the people that this is involved with. So like, you know, it's not like you're gonna be able to like sit there and sleuth about like who this is about or anything like that. But basically I just realized that there was some people in my life that maybe I wasn't as close to these people as I thought, or maybe they didn't care about me as much as I thought and as much as I cared about them, which again kind of just ended up making me close myself off a little bit, and yeah, now caused some major trust issues. And I feel like it's a bit of a double-edged sword because I've always been someone that's like very open. I mean, you guys know this, I'm very open on the internet, but even just like in my personal life as well, like I'm a very open book at like, I'm also a verbal processor. I'm someone that likes to talk about like what's going on in my life to kind of process it, and also that's literally what friends are for. But then I realized that some of the stuff that I was like saying was getting taken and either like twisted or used against me, basically, and it really wasn't fun.
Oh, that's no.
In the sense that
I'm not crying, I'm not gonna cry, I'm not allowed. But anyways, so imagine all of that on top of also being fucking jobless and homeless.
that's so upsetting.
Like so many of the things that had been constants in my life for years at that point just crumbled. Do you know what I mean? It just completely all like fell apart within a span of like a couple months, on top of dealing with a new diagnosis of a disability and also some other just general mental health conditions as well. So there was a lot going on. All things considered, I actually do think that I handled it all fairly well. I might have some built up trust issues and a bit of trauma when it comes to who I trust and stuff like that now, but in general, I actually was like kind of doing all right. But like when I look back and like on paper, what a fucking hard time. Do you know what I mean? At this point, fucking jobless, homeless, no friends, man. Are eyebrows technically alive? Because it's like a thing on my body and I'm alive. Shut up. So yeah, difficult summer. And after a good couple of months of going back and forth and all of that stuff, I also just started to realize that that wasn't a very sustainable way to live. And I think the longer I was away from London, the less I had kind of like the fire up my arse to get back there. Because also that was the other thing. When I was leaving, I really had it in my head that it was like such a temporary thing, and it was only because all of that shit was going on. And that's why I didn't actually make any plans to specifically live anywhere either. I think especially because loads of my friends, I mean, Catty stayed in London, but 3 of my closest friends all left London. And then also Eleanor moved to Brighton. And there was like a couple of my other friends that were also kind of like dispersing. So I also was like, one of the biggest things that was keeping me in London was my tenancy agreement and my friends. And I no longer had the tenancy agreement, and a load of my friends had disappeared as well. So I just was like, I don't know if I'm that arsed about getting back to London anytime soon. And my mum had floated the idea of me moving back to my hometown into like a flat on my own or something, and I initially really didn't want to do that just because it felt like it would be almost like a step back. But I kind of started to slowly warm up to the idea, especially like I say, going back and forth and stuff like that was tiring and like, again, not very sustainable. I can't keep just like not technically living anywhere. And like I say, because mum had floated the idea, I did start kind of looking for places in my hometown and eventually did find a place. This one actually ended up just like kind of falling into my lap and being kind of perfect. So I was like, okay, I'm doing it. Like I'm gonna move back to my hometown. I think as well, the fact that I was traveling between my hometown and London and the Netherlands so often made me feel like I was less like trapped here, because there's not really much like, there's not much happening here, and I don't drive yet. And like in the way of public transport and stuff like that, it's like not very well connected, you know, like there's like 2 buses a week or something ridiculous. And the train station is a solid like 40-minute walk. I also had that in my head. I was like, if I do move back, like I feel like I'm gonna be like stuck there a lot. Like I might not be able to see my friends as often or just have the freedom that I'm so used to. But doing all of this traveling back and forth, I realized it was actually a little bit easier and more plausible to be able to go places if I need to, go down to London if I needed to. So I think that also aided the kind of acceptance of like moving back here. I was kind of like, okay, it's actually not too hard to to get out. You know, I'm not actually like trapped. And also another thing as well, at this point, you know, it's kind of coming close to the end of 2024. I want to say autumn, winter time when I started like settling on the idea of doing this. I was also in the process of getting my autism diagnosis, which again, if you follow me on Instagram, you'll already know, but I did officially get diagnosed with autism. And I feel like it's like the final boss. Like, I feel like everything else that I have struggled with has led up to my ADHD and then also my autism diagnosis. As I'm learning more about it, I'm realizing that a lot of my other mental health conditions and issues, I think are definitely derived from my autism and my ADHD. I think I probably will do like a whole video breaking down the process and like all of that stuff. So if you guys are interested, like let me know. I did ask on Instagram and people said yes. So yeah, I'm not gonna like go too much into the whole autism thing right now because I am gonna do a separate video about it. But at this point, I was going through that as well. And I will say the diagnosis with autism, I feel like knocked me sideways a little bit. It's not that I wasn't expecting it. Obviously I was. That's kind of the whole reason that I started the process anyways. But as I learned more about it, and then once I got my diagnosis, I realized like similar to how it felt like when I got my ADHD diagnosis, I just really started to be like, oh, this really does hinder me so much in life. And like I have spent years and years and years having these disabilities and not knowing about it. And so kind of really trying hard to essentially be normal, be someone that isn't disabled as someone that was disabled. And I realized how much of my life, again, has been hindered by that. And I also think with that diagnosis, it took me a while to process that. At first, I feel like I just kind of was like, oh yeah, cool. I kind of knew that. I'm glad that I have it like, you know, in writing or whatever. But whatever, I didn't like fully take it into account within the coming months. As I was looking more into it, I was like, this has like been fucking up my life for a really long time and I'm only just learning about it and finding out now. Everything that I look back on, I realize how much my autism affected that. Now I'm like, no, I need to really like sit with this and hold space with this. Then I found this place. I just realized that like moving into my own space could probably actually be really good for me, especially with my autism diagnosis. I was like, this could actually be really good for me to have my own space to really like learn about myself, like relearn about myself, reintroduce myself to myself, figure out how I actually really want to operate when I'm completely alone and have complete control over my space. Don't get me wrong, loved living with my friends, obviously. It was really, really fun. It felt like a fucking sleepover every single day. And now that I am in my own place and living alone, I'm realizing like how good this has been for me. I don't know if I'm necessarily going to be someone that is now like, I have to live alone forever, because there are so many pros to living with my friends and stuff that I do miss. But I think where I'm at in my life right now, ultimately, even though it took me a while to like kind of settle into the idea of it and stuff, I think this has actually been the best outcome. And I don't think it ever would have happened had I not essentially been forced out of London. Even though that whole year was very stressful for a plethora of reasons that I've just explained, I do think this is the best outcome. I'm ready to zen out a little bit. In general, I am much more of like a bit of a hermit. And I think that is probably extremely well timed in regards to my autism diagnosis. Like, I think I'm realizing that, yeah, this is what I needed. I just didn't really want to, or even really have the knowledge that it was what I needed. I also just think financially getting out of London has done wonders for my bank account. Like having a bit of spare money is actually quite nice, guys. Like in London, I did not have that. I don't ultimately know how long I'm gonna stay here. Initially, I was like, I only want to stay for like half a year, but you know, I'm like 2 months into my tenancy now and I'm really enjoying it. I'm kind of like, okay, maybe it's gonna be, it's not a permanent thing still, but I don't know what I want to do. So why not relax and like ruminate and kind of get my ducks in a row to then figure out what's next. 2024 was an extremely difficult year, but all in all, I feel like I've really landed on my feet and I'm feeling pretty good. Nay, excellent. And also like, I feel really good in like my body. I have been really focusing on my physical health. I've been fairly open about the fact that I have had a lot of body issues, like I've felt very insecure pretty much my entire life, and that got exacerbated when my body started to change a little bit over COVID, and also just like while I was living in London in general, kind of struggling a lot, so not being able to really focus on being healthy, because that also obviously looks different for everyone and is kind of like a really difficult thing to actually figure out for yourself. And I think because I had so much other stuff going on, I really couldn't focus on it, whereas now I'm feeling really good about it. And that's also part of the reason that I started my OnlyFans again. plug because I'm actually starting to feel just like a little bit more confident in my body and stuff like that again. So yeah, I feel really good basically. So I'm really excited to like dive back into YouTube. I do have some fun stuff like planned after my break and stuff. I feel like I've also realized that I need to pull the reins back a little bit in terms of like pressuring myself to be posting every week consistently on the same day at the same time. Do you know what I mean? Like it's really frustrating because I know that that's good for like the algorithm and I obviously want to provide content for you guys, but I'm disabled and mentally ill. In an effort to have some consistency, I am aiming for 3 videos a month. I don't know how frequent, you know, they might come 3 days in a row and then you don't see me for a month or something like that. But like that is my goal. I'm gonna do 3 videos a month and see where I go with that. So that's the update in terms of like what's gonna be going on here. And also if you are one of my like Zaydenators, first of all, want to apologize because I started the whole channel subscription thing and then basically died like because I had to take my mental health break. But if you are interested in becoming a Zaydenator, like it's basically a subscription in my channel just to kind of like help and support my channel. You get some like membership perks and stuff like that as well, and also like members only posts and updates and stuff like that. If you are interested, the button's like somewhere down there or something like that, because I am going to start that up again and like have a little bit more of like close one-on-one time. I don't want to put too much pressure on myself, but I don't want to not have any pressure. Again, especially learning about ADHD, like I need some kind of deadline or something like that, or I'm not going to do anything. But it can't be too intense to where I get overwhelmed and don't do it. Do you know what I mean? And then beat myself up for not doing it. Whilst I was on my break and just in general, like I have been filming a couple of like sesh vlogs because I have been going to London and like, you know, I've had friends' birthdays and things like that. So there are some sesh vlogs in the bank. They are going to be coming out. So just because I'm like hermiting in my hometown doth not mean that you will not be fed sesh vlogs, as you guys always really enjoy them. And every time I post on Instagram saying, what do you guys want to see? Everyone's like, sesh vlog. But yeah, I think I've pretty much covered everything that I wanted to talk about. So thanks for watching. Also just want to say a general thank you. When I posted that thing saying that I like was gonna be gone for a while, everyone was so lovely and so supportive. And I've also been seeing that a couple of you guys have like been watching some of my old videos and commenting being like, miss you, like can't wait for you to come back and all of that stuff. And I really appreciate that because it did make me like, okay, so people still want me to post, you know, like they've not forgotten about me. I just had to take the time to fix some stuff and sort my fucking life out. Do you know what I mean? Like it was just crumbling. But now everything's good. It's just really different, but I'm happy. Okay, see ya. I look so cute.